You're all incredibly welcome. We could never have this many friends on Broadway. It's good to stay here. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to Hawks and Reed for being able to also offer another show at 4:30. We're so happy. I think it's the story that has gained traction. The story of an immigrant, I related to that. Discovery Maid, I've been one myself in my own house. The wonderful story that might have gone down in the shadows about Margaret Maher, who spent 30 years at the Dickinson household. And the story we are really, really proud to tell you in song. Of course, with Emily's poems, the melodies always jump out, and we've just had a great time rehearsing and practicing, and thank you so much for coming. And you know the drill about the rooms and bathrooms and all of that. So thank you for coming. We really enjoy being here with you.
Dear Emily, you're such a renowned letter writer. I hope you don't mind if we dare to write you one. Let us introduce ourselves. We are the Wild Irish Women.
With just a few excellent men.
With all due respect, not nearly as wild as us women. Oh, we rely on their steadying influence. But generally, we're about lifting Irish women out of the past, no matter if no one ever heard of them.
Especially if they have a good story and an impact on their times, but somehow languish in obscurity.
Isn't that what you would hope for, Emily? Obscurity? We are not averse to fame, and some of our wild characters are indeed famous, if not notorious.
Maud Gunn. The celebrated news of William Butler Yeats, But she was too much of a gun-toting, fierce revolutionary for your gentle nature, and she broke W.B.'s heart.
What about our other wild Irish woman, Nora Barnacle? James Joyce was crazy about her, even if she barely read a word of Ulysses. The 17 pages she managed to get through nearly killed her. You are Aunt Philip to us. Aunt Philip, Irish for poet.
And what about the wild warrior woman of the Thon, Deirdre, Nessa, Macha, and Maid? You two are wild warrior women to us. Now you are more famous than all of them, no thanks to us. Including you in our wild Irish sisterhood might even be seen by you as an act of craven Celtic commodification.
Me, Irish? We might hear you say, never. We're pretty sure you don't have a drop of Irish blood, and if you did, you'd keep it to yourself.
Oh, who knows what Hibernian skeleton is hiding in your closet with your Gunabon, your white dress. We bet Ancestry.com could bring even you into the Irish diaspora. You are famous enough without our help. Your story is not eclipsed in our story, but rather interwoven with that of another. The Irish woman who lived in your home for more than 30 years, even after you departed from this life. She might have been a mere footnote in Dickinson family history, but she is our wild Irish woman, Margaret Maher.
We love her life story, and yours, and your poems, and especially your baking. Bear with us as we tell more of your story, and of course, Margaret's. Yours very respectfully, the
Wild Irish Women. In 1850, Emily's father, Edward Dickinson, placed an ad in a local paper, wanted for hire, a girl or a woman who can do the work of an entire household, can come well recommended, will receive constant employment and good wages.
The way was paved for breaking down your Irish bias by your first Irish maid, Miss O'Brien. She worked for the family for 5 years and caused consternation and disruption in the smooth-running household when she announced that she was leaving for California to get married in 1865.
I just thought she didn't have a good enough reason to quit our employment. Sure, she was only getting married. Why didn't she want to die a respectable old maid in an upstanding Protestant household, like myself?
I am her replacement. I hope I can follow in her footsteps and not die unexpectedly before I have a chance to snag a handsome Yankee fella and not be an old maid. I was born on February 25th, 1841, in the village of Killusty, a townland of County Tipperary, Ireland, known as the Golden Vale for its verdant and rich pasture lands.
Margaret spent her childhood living through one of the worst calamities in Irish history, the potato famine.
Wish that we were geese.
dust over here. We're drowned in the dust over here. Oh, we're drowned in the dust, but the Lord in whom we trust will yet give us from crust over here. And He gave us from crust over here.
My father, like most small farmers, had to move often to rent land. Now, we weren't starving, but we were close. We frequently had to eat mangoes, which were really intended for the cows. We survived while others died eating grass when the potatoes failed.
Well, better mangoes than grass. That would be a kind of a turnip.
Grand sounding townland, Bula, Killavalley, Capadrum, on the slopes of Slieve-na-Mon, the mountain of the women. No matter the grand names, he couldn't even scratch out a living there.
Margaret's father's last move to Slieve-na-Mon, the mountain of the women, gave him a lease on land. He was able to save money. Sadly, it was for the family's passage to America.
I was only 14 years old then, but I was able to read and write about employment with me future bosses, the Boltwoods, and then the Dickinsons of Amherst.
Lord Geoffrey Amherst. For him the town is named. He suffered his own form of decapitation, falling from a pedestal like many men of monuments.
Imagine passing out blankets infected with smallpox to kill off the natives. And we thought the English were bad.
Sure, wasn't he English?
The inn that carried his name, Lord Geoffrey, now bears the name of his neighbor and Margaret's first employer, the Boltwoods.
The correction didn't quite go far enough. I should be seeing a sign that says, "Welcome to the town of Dickinson," or "Welcome to the town of Emily."
I had the comfort of my sister Mary and her husband Tom when I left Ireland for the U.S.
Margaret's brother-in-law, Tom Kelly, was a thrifty, provident, ambitious fellow, albeit a humble laborer. He was able to buy property from my father and establish his own family compound in Amherst, known as Kelly Square.
I am bidding farewell to the land of my youth and the home I love so well, and the mountains so grand round my own native land. I am bidding them all farewell. With an aching heart I'll bid them adieu, for tomorrow I'll sail far away, o'er the raging foam, for to seek a home on the shores of America. It's not for the want of employment I'm going, it's not for the love of fame, that fortune bright may shine over me and give me a glorious name. It's not for the want of employment I'm going, or the weary and stormy sea, but to seek a home for my own true love on the shores of America. To think of my friends in my own native land and the home I'm leaving behind. But if I should die in a foreign land and be buried so far, far away, no one lover's tears will be shed o'er my grave on the shores of America.
This isn't exactly a bloodline from Margaret to me. I was trying to get over my prejudice towards the Irish. Wretched people, I thought they were. I believed they should all be scientifically eliminated. Then came Maggie. I've often said Margaret is brave, faithful, punctual, and courageous. Then I was wondering why I had such a bad opinion of them before Maggie.
She changed her mind, and then they took down the sign, "No Irish need apply."
When I was young, I lived in a social, busy, bustling, hospitable household. Unlike the future me, the famous recluse, I wasn't always upstairs writing alone. I had a lot of fun when I was young, and with the servants too.
Well for them, with a staff of long-suffering, devoted, industrious Irish and African Americans.
Where would they be without us? Dancing to attend to their every tune. Now, Emily and Lavinia are not lazy. Even though they're fancy pants, high-class girls, they do plenty of work around the house. But I'm still the most exhausted.
How many times these low feet staggered, only the solid mouth can tell. Try can you stir the awful rivet? Try can you lift the hafts of steel? Stroke the forehead, hot so often, lift if you care, the listener's hair. Handle the adamant tongue, fingers never have been more sheltered. Was butterfly is on the chamber window, creatures the sun fearless the cobweb swings from the ceiling, indolent housewife and daisies lay. Fearless the cobweb swings from the ceiling, indolent housewife and daisies lay. Was the little twice on the chamber window, crimson the sun on the freckled pane, fearless the cobweb swings from the ceiling, indolent housewife in Daisy's lane. Fearless the cobweb swings from the ceiling, indolent housewife in Daisy's lane.
Seminary-educated, privileged girls were not exempted from the back-breaking labor of the household until the arrival of the Irish servants.
My mother, my sister Lavinia, and I are expected to work side by side with the hired hands. My father insisted on it. Thinks his character for me. It was downstairs in the kitchen among the servants that I learned to be a baker. My father wouldn't touch bakery bread. He would come down to the kitchen, look in the oven, and say, "I don't see any bread in there, Emily. Get cracking and baking. I'll be back."
A little bread, a crust, a crumb, a little trust, a demi-john can keep the soul alive, not portly mind, but breathing warm, conscious as old Napoleon. A night before the crown, a modest light, a faint petite, a brief campaign of sting and sweet is plenty, is enough. A sailor's business is the shore, a soldier's vows who asketh more can seek the neighboring light, must seek the neighboring light, must seek the neighboring light, must seek the neighboring light. A little bread, a crust, a crumb, a little trust, a demi-john. We keep the soul alive, not mortally mind, but breathing warm, conscious as old Napoleon. The night before the crown, a modest thought, a faint petite, a brief campaign, a sweet street is plenty, is enough. A sailor's business is the shore, a soldier's goal to ask for more. Must keep the neighboring light, must keep the neighboring light, must keep the neighboring light, must keep the neighboring light.
My poor sister Lavinia and I had plenty of hard domestic labor that kept us away from embroidery and other genteel needlework. My letter writing took a lot of time. So did my poetry.
Above stairs, she guarded her privacy, perhaps more from the zeal which drove her writing energy and the need for time alone than relief from domestic drudgery. Aside from her poems, her letters reveal much about her need for human connection. She had that in the kitchen.
It was Clorinda Boatman gave me the confidence to go work at Emily's house. She said,
Margaret is as kind as a sister could be to me.
Is she really talking about an Irish maid as a sister?
yes, she really is talking about me.
I started to get over my bad opinion of the Irish. If Margaret was good enough for the Folkwoods, she might just be good enough for us, the uppity Dickinsons. Margaret brought fresh energy, and I said to Lavinia, we're lucky to get her. Margaret is wild and mighty, good and noisy, the north wind of the family.
Class distinction between an Irish maid and her upper-class mistress had diminished over time in the Boltwood household. A bidding war had ensued between the two households for Margaret's services.
When I was working for the Boltwoods, my mother and father died in Ireland and I was heartbroken. And then poor Tom, my brother-in-law, he lost an arm in an accident and he almost died too.
A one-armed, illiterate Irish manservant and his wife Mary were shaky hires. Margaret was the attractive one in the family, her worth recognized by her sterling performance in the employment of the Boltwoods. She was so industrious, she complained she didn't have enough work to do.
As I've said many times, there is one great trouble that I have. Not half enough work that I must play with the cats.
It was exactly the initiation and preparation she needed to work in Emily's straight-laced household. The Dickinsons were more solid as employers, but Margaret loved the Boltons.
I'd love to stay here with Clorinda, but they move a lot, and more children are coming, and they travel too much. I am torn about leaving Clorinda in the lurch, and the children.
But you're lucky. Well, you have Kelly Square and can come home from here every night, your own kin. Sure, you're only a stone's throw from the homestead.
Maybe I'd be better off if I was further away. I get called back for every little fiddle, battle, and sniffle, like I'm a nursemaid, and then I have to run back over to the homestead.
The war of the Boltwoods and Dickinsons for Margaret's services was fraught and fought overtime.
I wanted Margaret. Even though she was a mere or native Irishwoman, uneducated, but she was smart and a whirlwind of energy. Besides, she liked my poems. I don't let too many people see them. I keep a lot of them hidden in her trunk. I told her to burn them if I died unexpectedly. I told her I would haunt her if she didn't burn them.
Haunt me it is. That's pretty harsh. Sure ain't I terrified of ghosts.
Well, only if you don't burn my poems like you promised. Why, you'd recognize me, wouldn't you, if I came back as a ghost? Don't you believe in the banshee? Wouldn't I be giving you a good warning?
No, don't you be dying unexpectedly. What are your father do for bread? Now that trunk sailed over the Atlantic with me. It has many a whale of a tale to tell.
The two sides had their attractions. Emily side won, and her hatred of the Irish was behind her.
I had no time to hate, because the grave would hinder me, and life was not so ample I could finish enmity. Nor had I time to love, but since some industry must be, a little toil of love I thought would be large enough for me.
I had no time to hate, because the grave would hinder me, and life was not so ample I could finish empty. Nor had I time to love, but since some industry must be, the little toil of love I thought be large enough, I thought be large enough for me. I thought be large enough for me.
Dickinsons were a theatrical household of well-cued characters. There were twists and turns of wills and wars, of love and drama, of tragedy and life and death.
There's a lot of gossip and scandal in the neighborhood now. My brother Austin, his wife Susan, and a three-way love affair with Mabel Loomis Todd.
Emily doesn't know what's made of it. And poor Lavinia, long suffering, she's expected to swill out the commodes. It's my job, I tell her, now that Austin is off to Harvard learning the law.
My father believes that housework is good for us. Character forming, he keeps telling us, and keeps our moody hormones in check.
That's a terrorist, Emily. Himself it is that's pretty moody. Didn't he have something to do with that new slavery law?
He did. The Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, sadly, yes. He's an anti-abolitionist. I used to be one myself.
So he doesn't just hate the Irish. Too bad he thinks it's okay to go after and capture freed slaves.
He's a Calvinist. He hates everyone. We all hated the Irish before you came, Maggie.
Our story puts them all on the sidelines. Hardly a mention of Emily's obsession with her sister-in-law, Susan. Her passionate letters were perhaps more than just another outlet for her letter writing and poetic genius.
I know there's talk about Susan and me.
Ah, but you don't care, do you?
You're so right, Maggie. I don't give a fig what's being said about me. I just love her. As a friend.
That's not what I
To tell you the truth, I do care what's being said about Susan and me. It hurts.
Is that why you don't go out much anymore? Just stay locked in your room writing to her.
Maybe. I don't want to mix with gossips and scandal mongers. I get a lot more pleasure from writing to Susan than gallivanting around town. Besides, I don't have time for holding grudges.
I'm not some dithering Egypt peasant that could take any job. I wanted a household where I was challenged. They were examining me, but what they didn't know, I was examining them. They were surprised I thought so well of myself. I was going to go gold prospecting with my two brothers in California. But Mary and Tom are here in Amherst, and the Baldwins were very good to me. Them that treats their maids badly. Didn't herself know all about the poor Irish Bridgets. She wrote one of her 1800 poems about us.
Maggie, you're not one of them, thank the Lord, and St. Patrick.
The spider as an artist has never been employed, though his surpassing merit is freely certified. By every movement printed throughout a Christian land, he like the son of Jacob, I take thee by the hand. Spider as an artist has never been employed by his surpassing merit, freely certified by every Roman religion. Throughout a Christian land, neglect his son of Jesus. I take thee by the hand, I take thee by the hand, I take thee by the hand.
In some houses, we're no better than a broom going after a spider's web. I heard some of maids from Ireland, they don't even have their own name. They're all called Bridget.
Well, you have to admit it's a rather nice name. You could do worse than be called Bridget. I've always loved cobwebs. Don't you think they are works of art?
No, sorry, I don't. I'm always chasing after them with my broom like an Irish Bridget. That's what it means, you know, it's not complimentary. The Irish Bridgets have to do all the washing. throttle and kill the chickens, pull the feathers and the guts, then stuff them with a plucked squirrel.
That's disgusting. We didn't ask you to do that, did we, Maggie?
I can count the number of chickens I plucked on one hand.
She knows how valuable she is. You get off lightly because you're good at other things.
Like hiding your bones.
You do get away from some of the heavy lifting. You'll always be Maggie to us. Some of the Bridgets don't know their place, are impertinent, drink too much, and stay out all night.
I could do with a bit of that, drinking, carousing, and staying out all night. This house is as dry as a dusty desert in equatorial Africa.
I know, compared to you, Maggie, we're as dull as the dishwater. Let's escape to the kitchen. Do some baking. You can drink some of the cooking sherry or the rum.
Oh, no, that's for the cake. Why don't you bring me one of your nice poems, and then we'll bake. I have to do the washing now.
Maggie, you're wild and mighty, the north wind of the family. But sweets without a salt would at last cloy.
No, you're not so bad yourself. You know, I wasn't sure when I came in March of 1869 that you'd like me too much. I can be a bit of a handful.
I wasn't too sure you'd like me either. I knew you were crazy about Clorinda, and they say I'm a bit odd.
Oh, I like them all. But I have a lot of songs of loss and longing in my heart for my own people far across the sea.
I have my own loss and longing in my heart, and my own people are right under my own nose in the same roof.
As I wrote to my mother in Pulaski, I'm a stranger here as if I came to work yesterday.
I am a stranger in my own land, my own house, my own town.
You're not going out of it. Aren't you Amherst royalty?
I don't want to be royalty. I just want to be left alone. I'm lucky you're not one of those drunken Irish Bridgets. I can talk to you.
I'm lucky too. Let's go down to the kitchen and bake. That's where I get the most chat out of you. Would you like to try the Irish plum pudding?
Plum pudding, what's that?
Well, it's almost the same recipe as your black cake. Now, I don't want to oversell it, but it's much better than your black cake. In my humble Irish opinion.
There's nothing humble about you. Even your opinions have a certain humble authority, so don't go priding yourself on your humility.
Oh, come on, Miss Emily, give it a try. Steam through the night. It's really moist with all that whiskey and rum.
Nothing's better than my black cake, and don't I have prizes to show for it?
I know you do, but it's prizes for your poems you should be looking for.
They are not going in any competitions. That's for sure, they're not cakes.
So they're just for yourself then?
Not quite. I sew them up into little booklets and give them away as presents. I put some in my letters, and then the rest in your trunk. Now, don't forget what you promised when I die.
Yeah, you really are an odd one. Now, you've got hundreds of them. And why don't you want to see them printed in the newspapers?
I would prefer to just give them to friends and also to concentrate on my baking.
All right. Well, why don't you try me Irish plum pudding? In Ireland, somebody won a prize for it.
Too much trouble. Don't you have to stay up all night topping off the water? I have poems to write at night, Margaret.
Oh, that's not so hard, Miss Emily. I can do that. Now, the steam is the key to its success.
All you have to do with a black cake is put it in the cake tin, in the oven, and bake it. I'm going for the black cake I know over a plum pudding I don't know. I have posterity on my mind today. I thought you said you didn't want to be famous.
Wait till you see what posterity will do for you. Right, so you're the boss.
In name only. You're the bossy one. Aren't you always telling me what to do?
Now it's for your own good.
If it has the same ingredients, isn't it going to taste the same? I'll grease the cake tin and get the oven ready.
All right, I'll mix the ingredients and measure them all. Just don't disappear. I want you to keep talking to me. I miss you when you go upstairs.
Is all we dread. Silence there's ransom in the hole. Silence is all we dread. Silence is all we dread. Silence, but silence is infinity. Himself have not of things. grease the pan and mix the batter. Pour another cup and knees, think it through, it's not a race. This game is made to last for years, for celebrations and for tears. Pour another cup and knees, think it through, it's not a race. This game is made to last for years, for celebrations and for tears. Don't forget the dark molasses, that's a cake that surpasses. Pour in the whiskey, rum and gin, the bunch cake will be sure to win. Don't forget the dark molasses, that's a cake that none surpasses. Pour on the whiskey, rum and gin, the black cake will be sure to win. Pour in a big clothes and things, make it so it's not a race. This cake is made to last for years, for celebrations and for tears. Don't forget the dark molasses, that's a cake that none surpasses. Pour on the whiskey, rum and gin, the black cake will be sure to win. Margaret starches, washes, irons, her Gunabon. A dress of pure and simple love, her Gunabon, her Gunabon. She will not see me from on, with too much toil and trouble. Miss Emily, please take a breath. You're going to ride pancakes. It takes a all to make her dress and leaves her time to stay away. And writing dreams and fantasize about the world, God and word about the world, God and word of life. It remains for us to ponder, wonder what's going to keep her golden heart. Her Gunabon, her Gunabon. The pure and simple dress, the cloth that hides her face and keeps her white and door and flame. It's inexpensive calico and on the wall, the white dress, the uniform. The white dress, the uniform. You don't have to go to Colorado. You don't have to go to Colorado. Thank you, Margaret Maher. Servant, stolen savior, without whom I'd be lost, lost and forgotten. The poems of Emily, the poems of Emily, on the river. The poems of Emily on Farewell. The poems of Emily on Farewell. Tis little like the girls who owns the animal sea, or roaches when the emperor with rubies crowned and feet, or gold when the prince of mine, or diamond when I died in the gold, continue on me. The greatest warrior in the sky, for wondrous on my side.
Margaret, you know I haven't been feeling so well recently, and I'm wondering how long I really have left.
You're far too morbid if you don't mind me saying so. Perhaps you're not the picture of health today, but I think it's just another cold and you're going to be fine. I'll fix you one of the rescue remedies and you'll soon be back to yourself.
I don't know what self you're talking about. Haven't you noticed I've been slowing down? I thought you Irish were in love with death, all that keening and lamenting, kicking up your heels at wakes. Will you help me to plan my funeral?
Now that's a tall order. Helping the great Miss Emily Dickinson plan her own funeral.
I don't mind facing it. I've been thinking about it for years.
You're far too young to be always thinking about your funeral and death. Are you serious about your planning it? What do you have in mind?
I am. You're good at everything, and you've been so kind to me since I haven't been feeling well. I have some ideas already.
Don't be always writing about it and thinking about it. You'll be bringing it on yourself. You're not that sick.
I'm sick enough.
No, you're not nearly sick to be dying. I'll know when you are. We'll talk about it then. Now, didn't you just say the Irish are great at it? All that buckle-upping and wailing around the coffin.
No, not quite that. I would like those strong Irish lads to carry me out the door and to my final resting place.
Well, you've come a long way since I've arrived. Irish fellows carrying your coffin? Wouldn't you prefer your brother Austin and Thomas Wentworth Dickinson? Or maybe some of Amherst's big, finest gentlemen? Now, I know you don't care what people think, but Irish laborers carrying the great Miss Emily Dickinson's coffin?
Yes, that is what I would actually like. Do we have to talk about this now? Instead, let's talk about summer, July, good weather, the seasons, the birds and bees, the flowers, fall, winter even. Nothing really dies, just a period of dormancy. That's what I hope for when I die.
There you go with the dying business again. Why don't you go into your garden and check out the conservatory? You've got lots of seedlings that need watering, new life sprouting. It'll take your mind off meeting your maker.
I'm not really looking forward to meeting him or her, if indeed such a person exists. A coffin is a small domain, yet able to contain a citizen of paradise in its diminished plane.
Stop talking about coffins. Think flowers, birds, bees, love, life, cake.
Where be the maze? Where be the
been thinking a pesky fly won't let me enjoy my own death, and it will be ruined.
Now that sounds very Irish to me. A fly won't let you enjoy your own death. What kind of hopeless case are you?
I heard a fly buzz when I died. The stillness in the room was like the stillness in the air between the heaves of storm. The eyes around had run them dry, and breaths were gathering firm for that last onset when the king be witnessed in the room. I willed my keepsakes, signed away what portion of me be assignable. And then it was, there interposed a fly between the light and me. And then the windows failed, and then I could not see to see. Burn. Burn. Burn.
Thank you.